What's up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to our R53 Mini build. In the last video we upgraded the camshaft, we did an ATI damper, we did a upgraded supercharger tensioner pulley, and discussed the overall parts list for the build. In this video we're picking up where we left off. Specifically, the first thing I'm doing is installing this Quaife LSD. I've already ripped the transmission apart. Once we get that all done, then we're gonna install the new flywheel and clutch. In the first video I told you we had an upgraded flywheel and clutch. We didn't have any real information on what that was. It came out of another car that my buddy Brandon had parted out. Unfortunately, it was basically just an OEM replacement, and the guy that told us it was upgraded was mistaken or just lying. So I reached out to Spec, and Spec sent us one of their aluminum single mass flywheels as well as a stage 3 clutch. Once we get the LSD done, the clutch and flywheel done, we'll bolt the transmission back to the engine and then start putting it back in the car, get the upgraded supercharger on, and get this thing fired up for the first time. All right, I got the factory open diff out of the transmission. I went ahead and took all of the bolts that hold the ring gear on off while it was still sitting in the transmission. I watched a video that said that just made things a little bit easier. So now we have to carefully hammer around the edge and drop this thing off so we can install it on the... Oh, look at that! Didn't even take a hammer. Factory open diff, be gone. Here is the Quaife LSD. Not much to physically see here. I did go ahead and press new bearings on. Now we just got to put the ring gear on. Well, that's it. That's a R53 Mini LSD install. It is shockingly simple, especially if you have ever worked with a solid rear axle and had to change out gears or a diff in that. This is a piece of cake. Now, I'll throw some sealant around this and bolt the case back up, but I'll do that off camera because it's boring. All right, so let's check these clutches out. This one here is the factory unit. As far as I can tell, it's an original or an original replacement. These, stock clutches are not sprung. The friction disc is not sprung because it's a dual mass flywheel, and we are moving to the single mass aluminum flywheel. I'd say that this is about, I don't know, 2/3 the overall weight of this one. The pressure plate on the Spec actually looks identical to stock or whatever this is, but painted blue. I have no idea if these fingers are stronger or if there's stronger springs in here, but overall it looks the same. Obviously, the clutch disc is significantly different. So this is the standard stage 3 clutch from Spec. I've run a stage 3 on multiple applications. I've always had really good luck with them. So as you can tell, this clutch disc is sprung because we moved to the single mass flywheel. You have to have something to account for picking up some of the force transmitted when you're engaging the clutch. And then here, the aluminum flywheel, which this is super light, weighs less than the clutch. It has the replaceable friction material here, or surface, you know, whatever. This is where the clutch disc rides, so this is your wear surface. So in the future, if you replace your clutch, you can just replace this ring right here. You don't have to replace the whole flywheel or have it resurfaced, which is nice. I'm gonna get this bolted on, but first I need to replace the rear main seal. Figure while the engine's out and we're doing the flywheel, no time like the present. Clutch and flywheel installed and looking sexy. This is the first time I've ever installed a clutch on a front wheel drive car, and it still comes with the normal alignment tool, but there's no pilot bearing in the back of the crankshaft. So this goes in and there's like a spot that it kind of sits in, but you really have to hold it in place while you tighten everything down. It's a little weird, but you know, whatever, it worked. I'm gonna bolt the transmission back to the engine, get the engine in the car, and then come back and grab you guys and we'll talk about the supercharger. It's all back together. Let's talk about this Harrop TVS 900 Supercharger, and then let's see if we can get this thing fired up for the first time. The factory Supercharger is from Eaton. It's their M45. Basically, my understanding is the Harrop, the TVS 900, it is just a much more efficient unit. It isn't necessarily gonna flow a ton more air. It does flow more air, but it's also drastically reducing the amount of heat that you're making as you increase your boost levels. The factory Eaton, both of them are two rotors in the Supercharger. The factory Eaton is 3-lobe 60-degree twist, and this is 4-lobe 160-degree twist, so it's significantly more efficient. The standard Harrop kit comes with a 70mm Supercharger pulley. We went ahead and upgraded to the 60mm. Harrop says that on their Mustang hub dyno that their stage 1 just Supercharger, no tune, 70mm pulley is worth 30 wheel horsepower and 12 pound-feet of torque. We do have a tune, we do have larger injectors, and we do have the smaller pulley, so we're gonna see more than that. On top of that, we did the cam and we have the other supporting mods. I don't know what it's gonna make, we're gonna find out in the next video. We're gonna strap it to the dyno, we're gonna do all the performance numbers. I've got a draggy, so we're gonna do 0 to 60 and all that fun stuff. 1/8 mile time, 1/4 mile time, whatever. The only other main difference from when I took this engine out as far as aesthetics are concerned, at least, this Alta intercooler diverter, it was originally like a wrinkle red finish. It looked good, but it was used off another car and it was really beaten up, so I wanted to just refinish it for my buddy. He ordered the blue spark plug wires when we got new plugs, wires, and coil, and I just matched the color of the intercooler diverter to that. Let me know what you guys think. I'm not typically one to do like a big pop of color like that, so I've been, you know, kind of back and forth on how much I like it, but the owner likes it, so that's really all that matters. The new engine mounts are installed. It is incredibly stiff now. There was a lot of movement from the factory mounts. They were pretty wore out. I still need to do an oil change. I still need to put the front clip back on so that I can hook up all the coolant hoses and fill it with radiator fluid, all that stuff. But let's go ahead and give it the old first fire. Make sure I didn't screw anything up. Success! Oh man, that was a lot of work. I'm really pumped.